Class 10th, let's continue the class. And in today's class, we are going to continue the chapter 3. And the chapter name is the Union Executive, Prime Minister, and the Council of Ministers. In the previous video, I told you about the different categories of ministers, their position, and the position of Prime Minister, and the link between the prime minister and the president, the prime minister as a leader, and the prime minister between prime minister and the council of ministers. Now in today's class, I'm going to tell you about the formation and organization of the council of ministers and distinction between the council of ministers and the cabinet ministers, right? So let's start today's class. Okay, designation of a new minister. So the first step, when there is a formation of new government, so the first step towards the forming a new government is that the prime minister shall be appointed by the president, right? So the prime minister must be that person who can be the supporter, or who can be sure of the support of the Lok Sabha members. That is why the president does not have much power to appoint the prime minister, right? So that comes under the president's discretionary power. So the president does not have much discretionary power to appoint the prime minister. Appointment of the other ministers. The other ministers are to be appointed by the president on the advice of, or with the consultation of, the prime minister, right? So it is his right to have a government which can work together as a team and which can secure the support of the Lok Sabha, right? So this is the, or it's the wish of prime minister only to appoint the other ministers. The prime minister has also to bear in mind that as far as possible, all the major communities and geographical regions of the country find a representation in the ministry. So for appointing those different ministers, he must keep in mind that those ministers need those ministers should belong to different communities, right? And different geographical regions of the country. To find geographical regions of a country, find a representation in that ministry, right? So it ensures that no ministry no ministry should be there with its members belonging to the same community, or within the with the same geographical regions also, right? So all the ministers have to be the members of either house of the parliament. That means the minister should be either the member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, right? Non-members can also be chosen as a minister, but that means if a person is not a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, he or she can also be chosen as a minister, but such persons which is who's non-members of the house of the parliament must get themselves or himself or herself elected or nominated to either of the house within a period of 6 months after their appointment. So this is point to be noted, that if a person is chosen as a appointed as a minister, but he or she is not the member of parliament, then he or she must get them himself or herself elected or nominated to either of the house of the parliament, and the time period is within a period of 6 months after getting that appointment, right? Now next is oath of office. The President administers oath of the office of the Prime Minister and other Union ministers. Now, under this oath of office, he affirms that he shall bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India. That means he or she will obey the rules and regulations, and he or she will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and he or she will faithfully discharge his or her duties as a minister without fear or favor, right? Or affections or ill will, right? So, under this oath, a minister affirms that he will not reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under his consideration as a minister. So, these are the oaths which is undertaken by the Prime Minister, and the President administers this oath of office. Now, size of the Council of Ministers. According to the 91st Amendment Act of 2003, it was decided that the limits of, or the size of the Union Council of Ministers, including Prime Minister, is 15% of the total members of Lok Sabha, right? But there is no such provision which is made for the appointment of the deputy prime ministers or other cabinet ministers of cabinet rank, or ministers of states or deputy ministers. So that is not fixed. That is why it leaves the prime minister free in that matter, right? So it is told that the 15% of the total member should be there, but the number of members to be appointed as a cabinet ministers or other ministers of states of deputy minister, that is not fixed, right? Now, next is, let's talk about the current ruling government. The current ruling government does not have any deputy minister, right? So the last deputy minister was Shri Lal Krishna Advani, who was designated as the deputy prime minister in June 29, 2002, right? Okay, so current new government, this government does not have a deputy minister, a deputy prime minister, right? Now, next is categories of ministers. All ministers, however, do not belong to the same rank. There are three categories of ministers. As I already told you in the previous video, there are three categories of ministers. Cabinet ministers, that means members of or ministers of cabinet. Ministers, second is ministers of state, and third is deputy ministers. And all together, all these three categories of ministers, all together, we call it Council of Ministers. So don't get confused in the Council of Ministers and Ministers of States, right? Now let's talk about the salaries and allowances of the ministers. As the ministers of state, deputy ministers, and cabinet ministers, along with the prime ministers, they get handsome salaries, and allowances also they get, which is determined by the parliament from time to time, right? And their salaries are never reduced, except unless there is financial emergency, right? Okay, now next is cabinet committees. The prime minister and the cabinet function with the help of committees. Committees means organization or group, right? So the prime minister and the cabinet function with the help of committees, such as Defense Committee, Foreign Affairs Committee, the Political Affairs Committee, the Economic Affairs Committee, and the Policy Planning Committee. The committees are decision-making bodies. The Prime Minister is the chairman of some of the more important committees. So, Prime Minister alone cannot smoothly run the working of the government or working of the country. So he needs or there are other supports, and those supports are the Council of Ministers, right? And Council of Ministers and the cabinet committees also. So different committees are there for the defense matters, related to defense matters, peace or war, or related to defense matters. There is a committee which is known as committee, that is a defense committee. And related to the foreign policies, foreign affairs, there is foreign affairs committee. And related to the finance expenditure, so that there is a committee, that is economic affairs committee. And related to the policies, planning, further plannings, so for that he is assisted, or he is guided by a committee, that is a policy planning committee, right? Okay, now next is distinction between the Council of Ministers and the cabinet. Now, distinction between the cabinet ministers and the Council of Ministers. So here cabinet means it's a top leaders, right? So the ministers having important portfolios or important rank, so they come under this cabinet members or cabinet ministers, right? Cabinet. Okay. So the cabinet ministers, they are the top leaders, and they time to time um, there is a need for cabinet meetings, and only the cabinet ministers are there. They are the or they participate in the cabinet meetings. Cabinet ministers, they participate in the cabinet meeting. They discuss there in the cabinet meeting, and they take decisions, right? They take decisions. And cabinet is what? It's a smaller group consisting of 25 ministers, 25 senior ministers. So we can say they are the top ranking or senior ministers. So it's a small group consisting of 25, some 25, round about 25 or 28, 30 ministers, right? Not more than that. Okay. When we talk about Council of Ministers, so Council of Ministers means cabinet ministers, ministers of state, as well as your deputy ministers. So all three together we call it Council of Ministers. Clear? Okay. Now all the members of cabinet are the members, are ministers, right? Are the ministers, but all ministers are not the members of cabinet. Is that clear? Okay. Now, in the day-to-day working of the government, the Council of Ministers as a whole rarely meets, right? The cabinet, on the other hand, is a small group of senior ministers who meet as frequently as possible, because they attend or they conduct cabinet meetings, right, time to time. But for day-to-day working of the government, the Council of Ministers, they hardly or they rarely meet. They together determine the policy and program of the government. While cabinet ministers attend meetings of the cabinet in their own right, ministers of state can attend only if invited to attend some particular meeting. So the difference is cabinet ministers, they attend cabinet meetings, right? But other ministers like ministers of state and deputy ministers, unless until they are invited, they are not supposed to attend the cabinet meetings, right? But the cabinet ministers, they attend, they have to attend the cabinet meeting. Now, a deputy minister is a junior minister. No junior ministers can attend cabinet meeting in place of his chief, except in very extraordinary situation, unless until they are called. The Constitution says that there shall be a Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President in exercise of his or her function, right? In fact, president is to act on the advice of the cabinet in all matters. So president, as we know that president is what is an only a nominal head of a state, of a country. That is why the prime minister is to act on the advice of the cabinet. So cabinet means the leader of the cabinet is prime minister, right? In all matters. Since the Council of Ministers as a whole rarely meets, it is the cabinet ministers who are consulted by the Prime Minister for information and advice which he or she needs. Thus, cabinet is an inner body within the Council of Ministers. So, from this we come to know that cabinet is what is a inner body, small body, inner body within the Council of Ministers. It acts in the name of Council of Ministers and exercises all powers on its behalf, right? So it acts means it acts in the name of Council of Ministers because they are a part of Council of Ministers, right? They attend cabinet meetings, they make policies and make programs for the country. So they acts as a what in the name of this council of this cabinet ministers. They act in the name of Council of Ministers and exercises all powers on its behalf. Now next is powers and function of the Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers maintains law and order and security of the life and property of the people in the state, and it formulates and decides the policies and programs of the state and implements those policies effectively in the state or in the country, right? Not only that, it also decides the legislative programs and of the legislative assembly. It controls over the financial policy and decides the tax structure, right, for the public welfare of the state. So not only that, it also it makes the important appointments of the heads of the departments, and not only that, it the Council of Ministers, they discuss and take efforts on the dispute of various issues within the states, right? So and not only that, the Council of Ministers, they advise the governor of a state on the appointment of judges and of the state, or appointment of the other judges of the subordinate courts. So subordinate courts means lower to the high courts, right? And the Council of Ministers, they decide all the bills, whether it's ordinary bill or money bill, to be introduced in the legislative assembly, right? And each minister of the Council of Ministers supervises, controls, and coordinates the department concerned. Annual financial statement, called as the budget, I told you about the union budget, is also finalized by the Council of Ministers. Clear? So annual financial statement, that we call it the budget, the expenditure, and the amount that has been deposited. So that all expenditure and that deposited amount, that budget, is finalized by the Council of Ministers. The cabinet formulates the domestic as well as the foreign policies and of the government. It also it takes decisions on the major problems like defense, security needs, and bringing peace to many states like Jammu and Kashmir or your northeastern sides, right? And improving relations with the superpowers also, or improving a relationship with the neighboring countries also, right? So except these, like the Council of Ministers, they advise the president for issuing ordinance also, right? So in the matter of issuing ordinance, because ordinance is that which is issued in the time of emergency, right? So in as in other matters, the president acts on the advice of the ministers. So council of ministers, uh, they advise president for issuing ordinance also, right? Okay, now amendment to the constitution. The cabinet is the instrumental in planning and moving an amendment to the constitution. So whenever there is amendment of the constitutions or rules and regulations, then in that time the cabinet act as an instrument in planning of those and moving an amendment to the constitutions, right? Now, diplomatic links with the other nations. The cabinet decides the foreign policy of the nation. As I told you, it directs how to negotiate agreements with the other countries of the world. The cabinet plays an important role in choosing our ambassadors and giving recognitions to new regimes, new area, right? Now, next is proclamation of emergency. So proclamation emergency during the national emergency, or during financial emergency, or during war and aggressions or civil war, that time the president needs to proclaim an emergency in a state or in a country, right? So it is written here, the president cannot proclaim a state of emergency under the article of 352 unless the union cabinet recommends to him in writing. So unless until the president takes advice or consult with the cabinet ministers, the president cannot proclaim an emergency in a state or in a country, right? So this article relates to the proclamation of emergency is in the event of war or external aggressions or the armed rebellion. Similarly, such decisions as the imposition of president's rules in a state are taken by the cabinet also. So whenever the state government is unable to run his state, run the state, in that case the government or in case of the failure of the government in a state, in that case the president's rules is imposed in that particular state. So in that case also, in imposition of president's rule in a state also, that decision is taken by the cabinet whether to impose president's rule or not in that particular state, right? Okay, now next is salient features of the cabinet system or the parliamentary form of government. So the basic principles of this parliamentary form of government is that the president is the constitutional head of a state, and the real executive head is the council of ministers, and prime minister as the on its head, council of ministers, right? Now, leadership of prime minister, the council of ministers functions under the leadership of the prime minister, and his resignation results in the resignation of entire council of ministers, which is known as collective responsibility, right? So resignation of the prime minister, that means the fall of the ruling government. So that means resignation of PM means prime minister means resignation of entire council of ministers. And next is members of executive ministers are the members of legislatures and take part in its deliberations, being certain of the support of their party or the coalition partners. The ministers can have the necessary laws passed by the parliament. Thus, the chief merit of the parliamentary form of government is a harmony between the executive and the legislature. Collective responsibility. The ministry functions on the basis of collective responsibility. So collective responsibility means the ministers, along with the prime minister, they are responsible to Lok Sabha. They are answerable to Lok Sabha, right? And they enjoy the confidence and So the Council of Ministers, along with the Prime Minister, they are what? They are collectively responsible to the House of People, that is Lok Sabha. Now, members of the cabinet and the entire Council of Ministers, they swim and sink together, right? So if no confidence is passed or moved against a minister, and if they lose the confidence, if any one of the members or any one of the minister loses the confidence, if they or if he or she, if any individual fails to defend their group, then that means it's a no confidence motion. No confidence motion is charged against that minister, so the minister has to resign. So resignation of that individual minister, that means resignation of all Council of Ministers. So all ministers, they have to resign, right? So that is collective responsibility. So no confidence motion expresses that the lack of confidence in government as a whole. So it is generally moved by leader of opposition, and if in that debate, if the ruling government fails to fulfill or satisfy the opposition, and if the motion is passed, no confidence motion is passed, then the ministry has to resign. So that is known as collective responsibility. Collective responsibility means they swim and sink together, right? Okay, now next is individual responsibility. So in this, though the ministers are collectively responsible to Lok Sabha, there shall be individually responsible to individual responsible also, and there shall be individually responsible to the president. They hold office during the pleasure of the president. It implies that the ministers shall be liable to be dismissed by the president for their desirable activities, such as breach of oaths of the office. And however, in these matters, the president acts on the advice of prime minister. So if any individual minister has a conflict or has a different views, or if that minister does not understand the policy of prime minister, and he is not supportive, or he is he is not getting the policies of or programs of prime minister and that government, so in that difference, in that case, the prime minister can ask to remove that individual minister from that government, right? Okay, and the president, on the advice of prime minister, can dismiss that individual minister. So that is the individual responsibility. So only one, that individual minister will be dismissed, or that minister is liable to resign, right, or dismiss from the post. Okay, now usually because of something that the minister has done, the prime minister asks him to resign, which he readily does, right? So if that minister is having a difference or having a difference in idea, or if he is not supporting prime minister in any policies or programs, then in that time the prime minister can ask him to resign, right? And the resignation of that minister is known as the individual responsibility. Resignation of that minister, and that is known as the individual responsibility. Now next is methods by which parliament ensures ministerial responsibilities. That means control of parliament, that means control of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members over the executive. Executive means over Council of Ministers. So there are several methods by which parliament ensures ministers' responsibility. They are: number one, to put to ministers question which should be properly answered. So the member of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they put questions to the ministers, and ministers, Council of Ministers, they are answerable to them, right? So the questions give MPs, member of parliaments, that means Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, some measures to control over the executive, so to control over the ministers, right? Second, moving an adjournment motion for discussing an important matter that should have urgent consideration. If some matter is discussing in that time, the members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha can move adjournment motion. So adjournment motion means to disrupt that matter, the previous matter, and to discuss another important matter which should have urgent considerations, right? Third is having censure motions against an individual minister or a group of ministers for their failures. So moving censure motion, censure means strong disapproval against an individual minister or a group of minister for their failures. So this members of parliament, that means the members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they can move censure motion, strong disapproval against the minister or group of ministers for their wrongdoing or for their failures, right? Okay, now next is moving a no confidence motion, which is very important. A motion which is moved by the members or a leader of opposition. If the motion carried, that means if no confidence motion is carried, it implies loss of confidence and the government has to resign. So government has to resign means resignation of one minister means resignation of entire council of minister. So that means collective responsibility, right? Clear? Okay. So class 10, here we have completed chapter 3, the Union Executive, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So hopefully we'll start new chapter in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.